Okay, we slip stitch and we're now ready for this next round. The next one we are doing the scale again. So the scales are going to fall directly in between where the other two scales are. So it's going to loop down, and how you can tell is that you can see that there's double crochets in the same stitch below, right? So that's how you tell where the center points are when you're working around this particular round. So to begin, we have to chain one, and we're going to come down the one post and up the other on the front side, so it's front post double crochet. We're just going to wrap the material or yarn and just go around the inside the post, so just come up and underneath, and I'm just going to turn the material so it's easier for me to see as well as for you to see, and I'm going to double crochet myself across for 5. So we're just working our way down the front post for 5. Once we're now got our 5 in, we're going to chain 1, and I just want to turn this project again. So just turn it so that I see the next post that's in the line, which is right here, and we're just going to wrap, and we're just going to go underneath the post like that toward the center of the scale, and we're going to work 5 double crochets going up the post instead. So one we come down the post, and the next one we come up the post. So once we get our 5 in, we can immediately just chain 1. So we always chain 1 at the top of the scale, and then we can just look over and see where the next one is, where there's 2 stitches right in the same stitch, or 2 double crochets right into the same stitch. So we're going to come down the one and up the other. So again, just come in from the side like that. Once you get that in, you can just kindly turn your material to make it easier. Double crochet 5 times down, chain 1 at the bottom, and 5 double crochets up the next side, and then chain 1, and then just reach over for the next middle of the scale that is over here. So continue that all the way around. We'll meet back up and we'll slip stitch and keep you moving. Okay, we're now back all the way around, and now it's time to slip stitch again, and we're going to slip stitch where we did the chaining of 1 here on the scale area, just like there, and we're just going to slip it, and we're going to move along to your next step. So all you just need to do is that you need to have 13 of these scales going up the purse. They also have a measurement on the pattern if you wish as well. So this is 1 and 2, and so therefore we'll meet back up at the top of this purse when we start the edging, where we're going to carry on with this pattern. To start off, we're just going to chain 1, and remember how we were double crocheting ourselves all the way when we went around. This time we are just going to be following all of the double crochets that are underneath. Now you will notice that when you jumped over this area here, you've always missed one. You're going to want to capture every one of those stitches along the way, okay, including the middle piece. So we're just going to use the gray here, or the clay color it's called, and we just want to be able to secure a single crochet around the top edge. So I'll meet you back up, and we're going to now finish off with this color. Make sure that when you go to single crochet, you're not just grabbing this piece here, you are grabbing the piece that's in behind, because those scales just won't be strong enough to hold your purse back together. So make sure you are getting in behind as well. Okay, and we'll see you in just a second, and we'll keep moving along. Fasten off this color and then move on to your next. I've now just finished coming all the way around, and all I need to do now is slip stitch it to the beginning. Okay, so this doesn't determine, just because we're slip stitching in the middle of the project, because we have not sewed the bottom of it, we don't know which is going to be our sides yet, and the bottom of it, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, is the last thing to do anyway. So I'm going to just trim, and I'm just going to pull up like that, and I'm just going to tie this into a nice tight knot. So just pulling my material through and just wrapping it. I want to do that a couple times. I don't want this to be very visible, and the next color will bury it anyway. So I can just kind of safely trim that a little bit shorter now, but I'm just going to do the final trim later. And now I want to get the deep straw color, and I'm just going to create a slip knot to do that. And I want to show you something on the project before we begin, because I'm going to show you what I did. I did a test sample, and what we have here is that if you really look carefully at the sample, you'll notice that there's actually 3 single crochets above each other. Okay, so there's 3 here, and this one 3, and this one 3, and they're stacked on top of each other. Okay, like an apartment building. This one here, what I did is that I did the 3, but I didn't stack them. I put them in between each, and what it did is it changed its entire look to almost looking like a granny square versus this. So you could actually, you know, have some creative allowance and change it if you want to, if you like this look or this one. But I'm going to show you how to do this one here because this one's pretty standard. And let's move along to that next. So now let's begin, and my deep straw color is on the crochet hook. By the way, you need to change the crochet hook size for this one. We were using a 5.5mm the entire time, and I've just switched it down now to a 5mm. It calls for using a smaller needle. What we want to do is start off where we stopped, and we're just going to slip our hook in, okay, and just take your straggler and your string, just throw it over and pull it through and through. So we're just going to pull it right through that slip knot. Okay, so it's now fastened on, and we want to chain 1. So we're going to chain 1, and we are going to put 3 single crochets into the same hole, or into the same stitch. So just, oops, that was a double crochet. Don't wrap the material. I've been double crocheting this whole project so far. So just straight into the hole, grab the material through, and pull through. In, pull through 2, in, pull through 2. So we now have a combination of 3 on there. We want to skip the next 2 stitches in the line and go to the 3rd one over and just immediately just single crochet for 3 more times into that same stitch. Okay, so you're seeing the pattern so far. So we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, go to the 3rd to immediately single crochet. And this looks really quite sharp, just how it just aligns this whole gray. So again, skip 2, go to the 3rd, 3 single crochets, and do that all the way around. We'll meet back up, or we'll move on to your next So I've come all the way back around, and now it's time for me to slip stitch where I started. And this is where what will make the difference of looking like the granny square idea like I just showed you before, or you wanted to follow this exact pattern. If you want the granny square, all you have to do is just chain up one and just put 3 single crochets into this gap, and then you stretch over and then you get into the gap on the